Alright, welcome back. So, first off, I wanted to get a little bit more of a idea of what some ships would look like. So, I've made a couple of testing ships from real life and fiction because I want to kind of get down my style. And first up, we have the space shuttle. This would be a two-scale representation of the space shuttle compared to the rest of the world. It's pretty small, but I mean that's kind of the point. A lot of the ships in this game are not going to be this small, except for like the very beginner ships or maybe like some dedicated small ships. Next up, we've got the Saturn V. We also have the TOS Enterprise, which I made just to get an idea for a larger version, and I gave this one a decent amount of detail. After this one, the detail goes away because they get too large for me to care about it for testing. I just want this for scale purposes. Next up, the Enterprise D from the next generation would be about that large. The Enterprise F would be about that large. And a Star Destroyer would be about that large. And now we are easily on a planetary scale. So anything larger than this would be kind of ridiculous. Most of these ships, like the average, I would imagine being around the TOS scale to the next generation scale, which on average would be about 500 meters in length, which, as per my little pixel art here, about 500 pixels. I'm doing approximately 1 pixel to 1 meter. Not exact, but close enough. So yeah, once we start looking at planets, you can easily see the large ships, but the small ones become basically invisible, which is kind of what I want to go for. Next up, I have updated the system scales. So you might notice there's a little bit more space in between the planets. Here's the old system and how large it used to be. Right here is Pluto. Whereas now Pluto lines up right in between Jupiter and Saturn. Ignore that this is purple and that one's green. I'm in the middle of doing some stuff. The new system is about 50% larger, which looks a lot better to my eyes, and I think this will be about where it stays. Also, the math lines up good. Next, I've started. This is why I've been gone for so long, because I've had surprisingly, a lot of trouble with this. Is I have made dynamic system generation. This is just a single one that I'm using to test right now, and I have it set to spawn at the beginning of each run. This one weirdly has a lot of rings. They actually have a low spawn rate, but whatever. So as we can see here, it's still a work in progress. Like for example, this moon thinks that the planet is the star, but I'll get to that later. You'll notice the planet is slowly spinning. The moon is slowly orbiting. At least the planet has correct shadows because I remind you again, we actually don't have many real lights in this game. I think there's four, and that's just to achieve actual lighting, so nothing here is actually dark. We've got dynamic ring spawns, moons, as I said, a bunch of different rings. They all are actually angled based on their angle of rotation, so if we speed this up just a little bit, you can see that this ring, it's a little difficult to see. I'm going to see if I can find a way to fix that, but this ring does mimic the orbital plane of the planet's rotation, and all of them actually should. This one should over here. How fast is this rotating? Yep. And if we zoom out, I think there was one more up here on the left. Yeah, for a gas planet. Yeah, you can see that it also matches quite nicely. And I really do think the gas planets look so good. Okay, so that's nice. We've got a lot of planets. They're all on their own little orbital rings. I'm going to put those in later, just not yet, but they each basically represent a ring around the sun that they will all kind of orbit. You'll notice also there's a different sun here. This one is red, kind of like a red dwarf star, whereas these are yellow. And I've made a nice little algorithm to quickly test, and I can just generate a new one on the fly. And we've got new planets down here, another one over here with a ring, blue star, another blue star with one that is a little too close. That's something I'm still working on fixing. And I can just keep spamming tons of different system types. I don't have a whole lot of stars or super variety, but I have a handful of. Ooh, that's a nice orbital ring. Oh, hey, the shadow's messed up there. Yeah, you can still see it. The rotation is along this kind of plane, and you can see that the rings are also along that plane. Another thing that's a nice little detail that's hard to see at low speeds, if we speed it up, you can see that they do actually orbit the star. And the further away they are, the slower they orbit. Here, if I spawn another one, maybe we'll see it better. Oh yeah, like that moon is just spinning so fast because moons do orbit quickly relative to planets around a star. And this one, even if we zoom all the way in, it probably barely looks like it's moving at all. Yep, even at 100 times speed, barely looks like anything's happening. If we slow it down to 1, it should look almost completely imperceptible to movement. Even if we zoom all the way in here. Let's see, can we even see it moving? Yep, just barely. Just barely. And that's on super ultra zoom. I don't plan to actually have the game be able to zoom in that far. That's just for me testing. Alright, so that's my current work in progress system. I'm still fixing some things, as I said. The moon thinks that the planet's the star. Some of the rings' shadows are messed up, and planets spawn too close. I'm still working on it. We'll get there. Another fun thing is I have actually increased the scale of the overall map as well. So the solar system is now about 50% larger, but the overall map, as I zoom out here, is about 5 times larger, at least for a galaxy. And I sadly think that I'm going to have to make the galaxy the largest size, minus a few exceptions here and there. But I don't plan on having entire other galaxies, at least not right now or not yet. But the ideas that I had for those, I am still going to implement in another way, which I am not going to share quite yet, also because I have not even come close to starting that system. Lastly, one thing that's really nice is you might expect with these very nice planets and pretty detailed ships that they're going to be quite large, you might expect some lag. But good news, I have mostly found a way around it. So if I open up this little stats panel over here, we can see right now we are rendering about 1.3 thousand triangles, and I'm currently running at about 120 FPS. So I've made a nice little algorithm that actually does not use level of detail. Funny thing, the camera actually isn't moving backwards and forwards. It's actually a weird camera trick. It does move up and down, but think about this. As you zoom in and out, you're going to be rendering a lot more, but because the camera isn't actually moving forward and backwards, it is moving left and right, but there's more going on there as well. Level of detail would not actually work, since technically the camera is the same distance here, and here, and here, and here, and the same as I zoom out. But I made this nice little thing. So if you watch this little tries right here, we're running at 41,000, which is pretty high. Not crazy. 81, 160, 200, 500, 600, 800, and 900. 1.2 million tries. That's a lot. Now, comparative to a lot of other video games, it's not that much. But I want to try to keep this running as smooth as I possibly can. So, fun thing, this is about the worst it gets. As I keep zooming out, we're now at 500,000. 400,000. And currently, we're still at 400,000. But that's less than half of what it originally was. And that's when we're zoomed out all the way. And if we zoom all the way back in, it'll go from 400 back up to 500. And then back up to about a million something. Yeah, 1.2. And you'll see that it slowly goes down as you zoom in more and more and more. And here, let's see. As we zoom into these ships down here, we are back down to 1.2 thousand, 1.1, and if we zoom even off of those ships, yep, we're still at 1.1. So luckily, the ships are very little. It's mostly the planets. But, hey, that's quite nice. And I'm still working on the algorithm. I haven't changed it since I upped this scale, so some of the math is off there. But overall, It's doing its job quite well. And even as I zoom out, you can see that I'm still running at 120 frames per second relatively constantly. I'll dip to 118. Oh, there was a 90 there for 1 second, but it jumped right back up to 120. So it's still running smoothly. Anyway, things are starting to take a lot longer, so my devlogs might be a little bit longer in between, but oh well, that's how it goes. All right, that's all for now. See you next time.